Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Concrete Growth Podcast, where we break down concrete industry secrets, stories, tips, and tricks. I'm your host, Adam Eastman, co-founder of Concrete Marketing Pros. And today I've got Zach and Blayne. They're both co-owners of Ace Pavement Solutions out of Kilgore, Texas. These guys are doing everything in the pavement world from asphalt, seal coating, ADA work, full service for commercial properties in East Texas. Zach and Blayne, thanks so much for being here, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks for
man.
having us on.
Yeah, I appreciate
Awesome.
it, brother.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so I guess before we kind of get into the deeper questions, I'll just have both of you guys introduce yourselves to, who are you guys and what do you do?
You can go ahead, Zach.
I'm Zach. So I'm actually Blaine's older brother, and obviously we're partners. And yeah, like you said, we started out primarily doing pressure washing and parking lot striping in there, and from there it just evolved. We got in asphalt maintenance, and then got into some patchwork, and then got into concrete. Even now, starting to do a little structural stuff. I mean, we've got into a little bit of everything, but we
Okay,
primarily push asphalt and concrete work.
gotcha. And so were you guys always working together, or was it kind of like you started this and then he joined in, or it was just both from the start?
We were always working together. It wasn't in the capacity we are now. When we first started this thing full throttle, it was me and out in the field initially, and he was helping on the side. He still had a full-time job, and he would just help, as needed. Obviously, there wasn't a lot of work to fill at the time, but when
Gotcha.
that opportunity opened, he transitioned from what he was doing and joined me.
Yeah. So then,
Right. So,
yep, I'll let you
uh,
go.
no, I was gonna say. So it was June of, I guess it would have been 24. Zach, was whenever I transitioned full time, and at the prior to that, I was in oil and gas. I'm doing some operations management stuff. And kind of what interested me was I saw the relationships that Zach had built. He didn't have enough hands to capitalize all the way. So that was kind of what interested me in coming full time and trying to capitalize on what he had put into it,
Okay,
already.
gotcha. Yeah, I'm kind of curious. How did it originally start? I know you guys said you started with some other things and then kind of got into the pavement kind of industry. How did it kind of originally start and kind of come to fruition?
Originally, the big fish we were after was parking lot striping, and we had power washing included, to complement it because we knew the services were hand in hand. And we got work, and my favorite thing, like he said, is relationship building. I love people. I love talking to people, being around people, hearing their stories, and just relationships led from one thing to another. And
Gotcha.
we just kept getting opportunities for other services.
Yep.
And we would, the goal at first was to sub them out and not handle them in house. But it got to a point where we just couldn't find reliable subs, and we're like, well, I mean, we can't keep we're just throwing money to other companies by turning this work down, so we might as well do it ourselves.
Gotcha. Yeah, and then kind of going off of that, how did you guys kind of get your first couple jobs? I can imagine like a lot of the guys that I talked to, it was kind of just a struggle. You're just throwing anything you can do to get your first couple gigs.
It was pretty embarrassing, to be honest with you. I was sliding in people's DMs. Like, I remember sliding into the DMs of my former boss who owned a restaurant. And I was like, hey, remember me? I do parking lot striping now. Uh, I'd love to stripe your parking lot. Like, looking back at it and reading some of that stuff, it was very, like, terrible.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
very
wouldn't
very
advise
bootleg.
anybody to do it, but I've come a long way since then, I hope.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got to start somewhere though. You got to get your hands dirty somehow. But yeah, so was pavement kind of always on your radar, or did you like kind of just stumble into it?
I kind of stumbled into it, man. I just wanted to stripe parking lots and power wash in my mind when we started, I think in all our minds. And the first opportunity we had to seal coat, even then, the number looked good. It was a big number to us at the time, but it was still, even at the time, it wasn't something that registered with me as wanting to perform it in house.
Yeah, gotcha.
But we had a hiccup on that job with the seal coating, and from there we had opportunities, and we just couldn't get anyone to answer the phone, show up on the job. The same problems everybody deals with any contractor, and
Yeah,
so we just finally said, you know what, let's do this in house.
very cool. And then what kind of other than like the higher margins and kind of money side of things, like what made you guys kind of want to go into the commercial route rather than like residential kind of driveways more of?
Man,
Uh,
I think, sorry, Zach. I think initially, so when we first started, very initially, it was striping and pressure washing. So when you think of pressure washing, we were trying to think of a way. We knew we wanted to build a business. We weren't trying to find a side hustle. We were trying to grow a company. So we wanted to try to find a way to escape the market of I guess like a lot of the residential pressure washing. It's a little beat down. Once you start having to pay the commercial insurance and all the things that you have to provide to do those jobs, you separate yourself from a lot of people, right there off the bat. And that was one of the things with commercial was just trying to get the right work to where we could really capitalize on the equipment we had invested in.
Gotcha. Yeah, and then kind of going on to like the origins of this and where you kind of was there a moment where maybe Blayne came on and like you were kind of like you had a moment where you were like, all right, we're actually building something here, or was the vision was there all along?
uh, I don't know. Yeah, that's a great question. Even then, I don't think it really hit me. I think it's just now starting to hit me.
Gotcha.
And that's just due to like some of the people commenting on things we're doing, or people that have reached out and said, "Hey, you're doing, I saw that you did this." I've noticed that it'll be people that you don't even hear from or know that are watching, and I'll run into them in public like, "Hey, I see your videos or your pictures. That looks great. I've been following along." Stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So those little like pieces of encouragement have just been kind of bigger motivators as well.
Right. And then we've been, as far as the projects we've been able to land now, it's just a different caliber from even from when Blayne joined. And the opportunities are coming a lot more often on those type of things. So,
For sure. And then kind of a question on current operations as well. What has been kind of, if you could put a label on it, what has been the hardest part of kind of running the pavement company that people don't see on the outside?
you
Man,
want
I
it?
would say the moving parts and yeah, the moving parts and how much it really is to put it together and more so successfully because it gets unorganized very quick.
Gotcha. Yeah, and then kind of on top of that, like I know a lot of guys that I deal with are up north and kind of have to handle with the seasonality side of things. Is there any bit of that in Texas at all? Like, are there any like seasonality problems where it gets like just intense heat or like anything like that?
As far as slowing the workload, not really. Like this year, we didn't hardly have a winter. I mean, we had maybe a week of weather that was too cold to operate in. But as far as just shutting down operations for months at a time, no, luckily we don't have that. I mean, it does, it gets blistering hot, but
Just work continues.
right, yeah, nothing that just puts us down and out, thankfully.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, and then I'm kind of curious as to the dynamic you and Blayne have. I know I run this business with my brother, so it's pretty great. But I would say, how do you guys kind of split up the responsibilities? What does that kind of look like? Like, what does each one of you guys handle?
Yeah, so something that we had to learn was how to do it together, right? Because it's not easy, and at the end of the day, it's work. So we had to figure out how to do it together, and we've kind of always referred back to like I said when I came here, it was based on he had a bunch of really good relationships, and so he's kind of taken more of the sales route, and then operationally, I try to handle most of the operational side of it. The simple way to, I would say, split up how we handle our structure.
Yeah, definitely. And then kind of on a more like personal level, like how do you I know brother to brother relationships can be tough sometimes. How do you guys kind of handle like when you disagree on something, especially in the business? I know a lot of the guys talk about like removing emotions from it. I'm just curious what your approach to that is.
Yeah, from my side, I would say that part of like we really had to learn how to do it together, and part of that is we really, I mean, I think we do well at dropping our pride, and at the end of the day, we're trying to look for an answer that's best for our business, and I think sometimes we might need 5 or 10 minutes, but we'll call back and we'll do what's right, whether he's right or whether I'm right. I think most of it is we've gotten good at dropping our pride and saying, okay, maybe that is the best route, or vice versa.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I think it's pretty massive, especially since like you're both working towards the same goal. And it's kind of sometimes easy to forget that. But
That's it.
as for like the commercial side of things as well, I'm curious, because most of the guys that I work with are residential. What does landing like a new commercial account actually look like? I know that's kind of a loaded question, but I know you guys are pretty heavy on relationships, but I'm curious what your approach is on that.
I would say the toughest thing about that most people don't realize is waiting on your money after the job is done.
Gotcha. Yes,
Yeah.
but as for like, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say that initial number looks great and it feels great and it is great, but waiting on your money for, 60 days sometimes is can put you in a crunch.
Yeah, for sure. And then as for actually like getting these jobs, what are your kind of main methods of outreach? Are you kind of do you have outbound sales reps, or are most of your jobs inbound, or are they referrals? What does that kind of look like?
A little bit of everything. I've always got my eyes open to any opportunity. It may be something like going down the road and I notice this parking lot's cracked up, or I do a lot of social media stuff. But really, I mean, my relationships have got me most of my work. We just landed our biggest job due to a referral from a striping job we did, which was cool. I hadn't stayed in touch with the guy too much, but he thought we did a good job striping his fire lane for him, and he had reached out to a new business that came into town, and they needed some warehouse striping, and it was the biggest contract we've ever landed. I mean, and we ended up doing all kinds of work for him, and
Yeah.
still have work to do for him. So it was pretty cool. You never know how something's going to fall in your lap, or I wouldn't say fall in your lap. It took work to get there, but that's why you can't underestimate even the smallest opportunities because it can lead to something like that. I mean, this was a very small job we landed that got us this. So
Yeah.
just taking advantage
And
of everything you come across.
and I think kind of part of answer to answer your question is one of the hard parts is it just takes time. So now we're in coming into year five, I believe, four, whatever it is, and now after 2 to 3 years of Zach really on Google looking at apartment complexes and really knocking on doors, and after 3.5, 4 years of that, fortunately now we do. I would say at least half of our calls or more are from. We might not necessarily know where the call came from, right?
Yeah.
So fortunately now, a lot of that everyday grind hustle of sales has been, it's been eliminated to an extent to where, now Zach finished, he focuses a lot of his time on, just taking care of the ones that we have built, because we have a lot of customers that we do multiple projects for, and we have multiple bids out for, still now. So, I think that's a big part of it, man, is after a certain amount of time of the hustle and doing good work and getting good reviews and stuff, it'll fill a lot of those gaps.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, there's creating a massive web of connections, I feel like is just so important, especially in the commercial game, because there's just a lot of
Hmm.
repeat just opportunities to put bids in. But yeah, on kind of the sales side of things, I'm also curious, how are kind of commercial clients and dealing with that a little different than homeowners? Like, how do you approach selling like a property manager and a business owner rather than like maybe how you would sell like a homeowner?
I would say one great thing about most commercial clients is the budget's there. So really you don't have to have that discussion about budget when you're dealing with commercial property most of the time. I mean, there's still, instances where you run into that, but
Yeah.
that's that's a big one where in residential, that's a huge hurdle to leap over and have that conversation with the customer because what they're wanting may not be within their budget. And then you have to have that hard talk with them like, yeah, this is the best option, but it's not within your budget. Here's the second best option, but it's not what they want.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
And then what goes with that too, man, kind of hand in hand is kind of what he said earlier is so sometimes the commercial, the budget's there. So of course sometimes you can do better numbers marginally, but also usually residential, typically you walk away with a check in hand. So the operation's so much easier. So
Yeah, definitely trade-offs to both markets. Also on
mhm.
the operations side, I was going to ask you, how do you kind of deal with that when like the payback periods are kind of so large, and how you kind of paying the guys, making sure everything's running smoothly. I'm kind of curious on how that works.
Man, we're still learning, to be honest with you, and there's a lot of projects that big opportunities that we have to decide, hey, we can make a lot of money. Is it worth what it's going to put us through, or just managing it really tight? And the best we figured out, I mean, to this point, is trying to cross that hurdle to where we keep funds put back so we can front projects as we need. Because some of them, man, are just like way too hard to, like, you don't want to pass them up, and a lot of times now they'll come to us and it's like, hey, here's the budget. If you can do it for this, it's yours. So we know if, like, we're looking at it and we know we can make a killing on it. And it's just really managing it tight. I mean, I don't think there's a really good answer to that other than like pushing through it, and then over time, hopefully, you stack enough funds to where you confront those things.
Yeah, definitely. And then kind of, I don't know how many guys you have on your crew right now, but what would you kind of say is one of the biggest ways and or best ways to kind of keep a good crew, a tight crew, and some honest workers?
I would
Um,
say like anything, any good relationship you build is just doing what you say you're going to do for them. You keep them paid. You do what you can for them on the job site, to help them out with what they're doing. And Blayne can speak to this better than I can, but
I think like what he said, man, I think you get one shot with people, and like, do what you say, and that's why we're real careful with our words, and we don't like, we're real careful with what we promise, because we try to make sure, you get one shot with people, and treating them like humans, not so I think we've done well with our group of guys. We've got a pretty good group to where we built good relationships, and we've all worked together, but I mean, ultimately, yeah, it's just kind of like he said, it's just the same thing you do with anything else.
Gotcha. Yeah, and then kind of on the broader kind of business spectrum, we can start with Zach, or I don't want to put you on the spot here, but what has been kind of like the best piece of business advice you've received or kind of internalized?
the best piece of business advice I've received.
Or it can be mindset, business, anything like that.
Hmm. Man, so I would say, yeah. I would say that you're gonna have bad days, and so whatever is at your worst day is still better. I'm fumbling on words here. Your
No
worst
worries.
day is still not as bad as somebody else's worst day. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we still get to wake up in the best country in the world, doing what we choose to do every day. So even when things feel bad, in reality, they're not as bad as what they seem.
Yeah,
So
there's always
if
a
you can
always
just
a new
weather the
day.
storm for a little bit, you're not really as bad off as you think you are. Just give it some time to pass, and you're still, at the end of the day, man. We're all so fortunate to get to do what we do and live where we live. And I just wake up. I think the best thing I can do for myself every day is wake up with gratitude and be grateful for what I do have.
Yeah, love that, man. Did you have any kind of pieces of business advice or any growth stuff? I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot as well,
No, man,
but
you're good. No, I was thinking, it's funny, like something that Zach and I talk about all the time is like, how many times, how thankful we are so many times that we didn't, but how many times it would have been easy to quit or lay over. Like, you really don't see no light and then you think you're done with that, and then you go through it again, and it's like you got to go through it 100 more times. And so I think a big thing that we talk about is just keep going, even like sometimes in our route we didn't know which way to go, or how it was going to possibly work out, but thankfully we kept rolling, and now we try to keep pushing every day. Like he said, man, there's some days where you're just beat and defeated, and we bounce off of each other, stay productive, and keep moving the needle.
yeah,
So I think that's our biggest thing, man, is we try to just keep each other pushing, because it doesn't necessarily get easier. It's always the next challenge.
for
So.
sure. Yeah, I
And
think
every day
the
you want to quit that you don't, man. You're building that mental fortitude to be stronger on the next, round of storms that come your way.
exactly. Yeah, I think the also something that's very, very important and cool that you guys have as well as the brother dynamic of just knowing that you have someone you can lean on and trust. Um, but speaking of kind of the unknown side of things, is there anything you kind of know now that you wish you knew before starting the company?
All kinds of stuff. The list is too long.
Yeah,
But I would say the biggest one is you gotta let people know what you do, and you gotta ask for the sale. If you're not putting yourself out there, then people aren't going to put you out there. That was the one huge mistake I made starting out. wasn't confident in what we were doing and confident in myself. So I wouldn't throw us out there, but if people don't know you exist, they're not going to give you any work. And then a byproduct of that is if you don't, once you do get in front of them, if you don't ask for the work, they're not going to give you the work. You got to go get it, and you got to let people know you're out there and that you exist, or some other company that does what you do will.
Yeah, for sure. And then kind of building off that, it's a kind of a similar question. What would you kind of tell someone who's thinking about getting into commercial pavements?
I would say the biggest thing I would let someone know starting out in any industry is don't copycat someone, but go learn from someone who's been there and done that. And be willing to learn and be willing to change your mind and be open to new ways of doing things. There was things that, I quote unquote knew, but until I went through those lessons, I didn't learn them myself. It took me going through those things before I actually learned it. It's like touching the stove. You shouldn't do it, but you're going to touch it anyway. It's hot. You don't touch it again. And I learned a lot of lessons that way. And I would say to anyone starting out, specifically if you're seeking commercial work, go watch a successful company who primarily, in your industry, but any industry that's been there, done that, and
Yeah.
it'll keep you from touching that hot stove more than once.
Yeah, for sure. Did you have any, I'm curious, did you have any like mentors or people who you had to kind of guide you through this, or was it mostly just like you kind of did it, you learned as you on the way?
Oh no, man, I've had a ton of mentors. Luckily, my first one was in striping. A guy named Cam Roberts. I took his class, and he taught me so much just about business, not even just striping, but relationships, business. And then from then on, man, I've been so fortunate to have a ton of mentors in different industries.
Yeah. How would you kind of, if someone's first starting out, how would you kind of recommend they can find like a mentor and kind of learn underneath them?
Before you actually are these people, you have to do things like these people. So we've noticed like commonly a lot of business owners, even down to a local level that are successful, like they all have habits that are similar, right? So even things that like sometimes like when we were watching a lot of these business owners and just doing the things that they do, and the more you do those things, the more you become, so that's just been a lot for us. And like Zach said too, man, is a lot of times we like to think that we're right, but sometimes just listening to people that have experienced these things. And yeah, I think that'd be it.
Yeah, definitely. So kind of just putting your ego aside sometimes and just kind of learning from someone who's in the position you want to be.
Right, man. Because yeah, we're in some connection groups with a bunch of other business owners, and man, they all push for each other, and that's a big thing too. Is you want to get your name out there, but one thing that's separated our route a little bit, I think, is getting our name out there with the right people. The people that are waking up every day and they're running business and they're pushing for the other people that are doing the same thing. So we have a lot of folks that push for us consistently, and fortunately, but yeah, so it's been a big deal for us for sure is building that network.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
Is
But
it
you got
local or guys across the country?
man, to be honest with you, both a lot local. And so like the deal is like these are people that are getting opportunities all the time too. So like a lot of these people that Zach's been in groups with and stuff, I mean we'll get opportunities weekly off of them, whether it's a company that does this and then so and so needed concrete as well, or whatever the situation is. But even man, we've got some we've even outside of local, we've done pretty well as far as getting people to push for us. So
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
we're getting a lot of national opportunities now, which has been pretty cool. And that's just something that started recently through relationships built online with different
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. I was also gonna ask you guys if you go to any like conventions or anything or meetups with other owners or anything.
We need to. It's been on the radar to do for a while, like Payvex and stuff like that. I just haven't done it yet for one reason or another. But yeah, it's on the radar.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've heard those have been great for just kind of building that web of connections, especially with they have I'm pretty sure they have one on the East Coast, maybe in Florida every year. But a ton of owners meet up there and just build connections with other guys. But kind of on the topic of like specific projects, I hate to be the guy to ask, but do you have any like jobs that kind of went sideways or any horror stories you can share? Hopefully not too bad, but I'm just wondering how you what kind of happened and how you kind of overcame them.
Yeah, man, I mean, we've learned a lot of lessons, and it's just been a constant adapt. Every time we do, we adapt, whether it's adapting your contract because the sprinklers came on the night after you seal coated right, or so now our contract says no sprinklers, or basically we put the liability on you. Or people driving through your caution tape, when you're trying to paint, or I mean, we've had a lot of experiences. Even experiences chasing money, unfortunately, after you complete the job. That's been a big thing, even on a commercial level, even in areas where you don't expect to have those issues. But I think, yeah, we've had a lot of, I mean, we've ripped up asphalt, that we put down because of different reasons or whatever. So yeah, it's been a constant, man. I mean, honestly, still to this day, it's construction. So I think it's every day, man. We learn stuff and we go through stuff. But thankfully, we've tidied up a lot to where we have pretty seamless operation now. But it was a constant, man. I would say probably 2.5 years of like things happening that you never think of, and then adapting as necessary, the best way possible.
And
Yeah,
even on
for
this
sure.
last project, it was our biggest project ever. And I would say it went smooth, but looking back at it, there were so many things we could have done better. So
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
it's
And we
always
literally,
just fine tuning every process and system you have. And that's really been the majority of anything that goes sideways is usually communication and then your systems and processes not being where they need to be. And so those are the two things we know we always got to sharpen every chance we get.
yeah, I would say that's a big thing for us is we ever communicate now, with the customer throughout the process from step one all the way through. And intentionally, just because that's been a big thing is, like every step we're on the same page with the customer, um, rather than getting to the end of the deal and realizing something was off.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's especially important now today because I think when the customer's kind of in the dark, they kind of just start making assumptions on what you're working on, what's happening, and if you leave it too long, they kind of just build this whole story in their head on
Hmm.
how it's going, and then it
Yeah,
all comes crashing down
That's
real
kind
quick.
of one thing we say is, like we try to beat them to every question. So if we know you're going to ask about this, I'm going to come to you and explain this before you even can ask me about it. Um, yeah, because I think you're right.
Yeah, definitely. And then kind of on the operations system side of things, I'm curious if you have any like tools or apps that you just like absolutely need day to day, or else the business would just kind of fall apart.
Man, I'm not saying I wouldn't recommend those. In place now, we use Excel a lot, of course. Aside from that, not necessarily. We are still working on that stuff day to day, man. I mean, there's always a way to fine tune it and get it better. So, currently, not necessarily though.
Yeah,
I would say
definitely.
on my side, nutshell, it's a CRM I use. I mean, I live by that thing. It helps me track all my customers, when I last contacted them, my leads. So it helps me stay organized and fine tuned on what I'm doing for sure. I couldn't do this without it.
For sure. And then what are you kind of using for your CRM right now? Is it like Jobber or the
It's
concrete
called
specific
Nutshell.
one? Okay, gotcha. Is
Yeah.
that on it's on your phone, I would assume.
Yep. Yep. It's phone and desktop. And it was actually the original mentor I had. He told me that's what he used. And he said, you can use whatever you want, use what you like and what you can use, because, too many people tell you, hey, you've got to use this one. Well, me, I'm not super computer savvy. So when it comes to, I may be using that same one that someone else uses and I just can't figure it out. Well, you got to use what you like and can use. Otherwise, if you've got a software that you're not using, then you're just throwing money down the drain. So,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
this Nutshell's been great for me, man. I really like it. It's simple, easy to use, and it helps me keep track of everything I need to keep track of. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of guys that are constantly looking for better CRMs and more organized ways to keep things just kind of tight. But one of my last questions before we kind of wrap up here, I was curious, what do you think you guys would be doing if you weren't kind of running this business? Would you be running like a different business? Would you be like, I know some guys say they might be like a pro golfer or something. I'm just kind of curious.
Man,
man,
I would like to say something really cool, but I've thought about it. I think some sort of business or operation, and that's kind of what I did prior to this as well, and that's what I enjoy. So that's what I'd probably like to say.
personally, I can't think of anything else I'd would rather be doing or would be doing, man. Because and that's the big thing. When I've thought of, I've had my thoughts about quitting before, and every time I think about it, I'm like, I can't see myself doing anything else. I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't even picture it, man. I can't even think about it too long. I'm just like, no matter how bad I've wanted to quit, I cannot see myself doing anything else. So
yeah, definitely. And then kind of looking towards the future, near future at least. Where do you see the kind of company going in the next few years?
man, hopefully just, continue growing relationships locally and nationally, taking care of people and, just investing in people, pouring into people, whatever benefits come our way through that,
Yeah,
we'll take. But, it's about people first. So I think as long as we take care of people and do the right thing, then whatever comes our way comes our way.
for sure. That's awesome. Yeah, so where can people kind of find you guys if they want to reach out or get a quote? They got a commercial property.
Website, Facebook, Google, business profile, Instagram. I would say the best place is probably Facebook or our website.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely put those links in the description. Any kind of final words, pieces of wisdom you guys have for the listeners?
Man, I don't think so. Appreciate you having us on for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this has been awesome, guys. I really appreciate you guys coming on, sharing your story, building the business together. Guys, if you're in East Texas, commercial owners, you own property, you want pavements done, parking lots, seal coating, the whole deal, go check out Zach and Blaine's team. Links will be in the description. Zach and Blayne, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you,
I
brother. We
appreciate you guys.
appreciate it.